Today we're thrilled to be joined by Jordan Schleck, a local legend, somebody who's well known not only in Uganda, where his home country is, but also in Kenya and beyond. Thank you, Jordan, today for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate for having me.
You're from Kampala, Uganda. How is the cycling community there? I'm sure you're a very well known there name there, and people really look up to you.
Yeah, the cycling community is kind of like hectic, a lot
Mhm.
of traffic, and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
it's really challenging, but it's a good place to be in, and
Yeah.
it's a place that I'm proud of, that has made me who I am,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, there are lots of challenges, but it is what it is.
So it's not very, very different from Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did you end up being a Kenyan, if I should say so? It feels like to most of us, you're almost a Kenyan. You've spent, I'd like to imagine, a good number of years in Kenya, from riding with the Safari Simbas, championing in most, if not all, our races here.
Yeah.
And now seeing you even in the local TVs, and now riding with Timamani and your service course being in Iten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been like a proper long journey.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
There are lots of things that happen, back home that really forced me to, to start living in Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I used to be like one of the good guys, like one of the kids who used to be really like high, high really, you know, in terms of performance. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but still we had like a lot of political issues with my parents in the federation. So
Oh,
that's
okay, I
when I was
see, I
like,
see.
okay, I need to play a part two and see if I
Mm-hmm.
can make it into the cycling career. And that's how I ended up in Kenya, coming to
Yeah.
Kenya to help out with my uncle, Patrick Soma,
Oh, okay.
who is the owner of Green Cycle Bike Shop.
Oh,
And
nice, nice.
so that's how the journey started beginning. But I used to come in Kenya like for races
Uh-huh,
when I was a
uh-huh.
kid.
Yeah.
But officially, so that's when I started my journey of living in Kenya,
Living in Kenya. And
Yeah.
how many years has it been now since the beginning?
Close 4, 5, I guess 4 to 5 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow, wow,
yeah.
wow.
It is solid.
And language is just the same. I guess Swahili and English
Yeah,
predominantly is the same there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But as I was mentioning to you before, you live with a lot of Kikuyus, and even me sometimes when I go out there riding with rather after I ride with them, you notice how they actually speak a lot of Kikuyu. So if you don't understand, it can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It is. It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, so how was you started off in? Did you start off in Safari Simbas, or did you? How was your riding progression here in
So I
Kenya?
was writing for I was writing for local team back home. That
Hmm,
is,
hmm.
my coach. Like my dad is my coach.
Oh, okay,
So
wow.
it's called Tropical Heat Cycling Academy. That's
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
started my cycling career. And um, back in 2019, 2018, I guess.
Mhm.
So that's when I joined up the Safari Simbas with the help of my uncle and my dad.
Oh, okay, wow, wow.
But my main goal was like, to come to Kenya and like do a lot of mechanic to the bike shop and
Yeah,
you know
and some money as you're riding
yeah,
as well.
at the side hustle. But
Mhm.
yeah, maybe my uncle saw that it's not gonna really work out. I was so eager to really,
To just ride
perform,
the
yeah,
bike.
ride the
Yeah,
bike
yeah.
and to do the side hustle. But
You needed the
yeah, and
long, long
then
hours on the
that's how
bike.
I got the chance, through the communication of
Uh-huh.
the two, and I joined up the team. And yeah, I started living there. I raced for Safari Simba for quite long,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I did a couple of races with them. Um, and back in 2021, and that's when I joined up the Armani,
Yeah, yeah.
after some couple of races as well with the migration grabber race.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, but
Yeah, before I speak about the Safari Simbas, I've heard you mentioning your dad a lot. So he seems to be very instrumental in your journey in the beginning of your cycling. Did he sort of pressure you into joining cycling, or is it something you did and he supported you along the way?
now it was kind of I chose it
Oh,
myself.
okay, okay,
No,
yeah.
but when I started like pushing things a little bit more further,
Uh-huh.
so that's when like it was like, okay, he has to put in some more pressure so that
Input, yeah.
things work out,
Mhm.
mentoring me a lot so that I get to understand, yeah, if I need this, I need to really like more focused and chase the goals.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he's a big thing. For me, he has been really a good coach, a good mentor,
Mhm.
a good father. So
And do
and
you still
yeah.
ride the bike together? when
Yeah,
you
we
go
do.
home?
Like once I go home,
Yeah,
he's super
yeah.
strong right now, but
Oh,
he's
okay.
not really on a high performance. He's
Uh-huh.
more of coaching, and he's more of like influencing more of young
Yeah.
talents.
But that doesn't mean you'll tell him to come out on the bike with you and you'll beat him, or you'll really give him a hard day. He'll still be able to push along.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So your time with Safari Simbas, we see David Kinja. He was your team principal.
yeah,
He's really played such an instrumental,
yeah,
such a big role in the
yeah,
growth of cycling here in Kenya. Training the likes of the legendary Chris Froome, and a lot of cyclists here till today come from David Kinja's
yeah,
school, the
yeah,
Safari Simbas.
yeah.
It seems like a very important stepping stone, if you want to get better. Did he play a big role in your growth?
Yeah, he really did a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Like giving me that chance, to live in Kenya with the team.
yeah.
It really played a big part.
Mm-hmm.
So he never looked where I came from or whatever. So no
Oh
matter the
wow.
circumstance, he just saw me like as a kid who is talented.
Yeah, yeah,
Who is motivated to change up something into cycling career. So,
yeah.
and the good thing, it was like he used to race with my dad, and maybe that's how it become
Okay,
a
so
little
that's
bit
how they had
more,
some sort of a
smooth.
relationship.
But
Yeah.
yeah, he played a big part. Trying to help us. In terms of learning. The professional cycling.
Hmm, hmm.
You know, coaching us like and teaching us a lot of
Yeah,
things of the bike. So he played really so big part, and I'm proud of it. And
yeah,
shout out
yeah,
to him. So
yeah,
he's one of
yeah,
the good guys here, and yeah, that's how most of the things happen. From at least him.
hmm, hmm.
And a lot of people got to know me through him.
Through him. Yeah,
So
yeah.
which
He
is
gave you
pretty,
that
yeah,
that
yeah,
opportunity and that chance.
yeah. So
Yeah, and it's crazy to see. Even till today, he beats almost everyone in the field. I feel like you're one of the few Safari Simbas who are going to who are going to cross the finish line in front of him. He's quite the strong
yeah.
cyclist
So
to
the
this
discipline,
date.
his discipline is really like so
Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
So to be like a good person like him, you need to be really like sometimes more mentally hardcore. So
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
so sometimes you're like, okay, this is not gonna work out. I need to do this. So you need to be really so tough. And
Yeah,
he's one of the
yeah,
tough guys. And if you look at the cycling history, so in Kenya,
yeah.
so he
He's
has
been
been through the
through
field.
the
He
journey.
knows what to do,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
yeah, you know, he plays a big
A big,
part,
big part.
in
Yeah,
cycling
yeah.
in Kenya. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And speaking about, you've mentioned how he's very resilient. He has that mental strength, and I feel like with you, it's just the same. You seem to be the hardest worker, the most determined. You have an iron mind. You always chase and chase after what you want, whether you're in the winning seat or not in the winning seat. You'll still push, and it seems like there's always a positive energy radiating out of you. Yeah, how did you come to build this mental strength? Yeah, the mental resilience. You see, a lot of people need actually a professional coach to teach them the different ways of battling with their mind. But for you,
yeah.
it
So
seems.
like when I was a kid, so
Uh-huh.
where I grew up, I know I didn't really like grow up in um like in a wealth family,
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
well good family. So
Mhm.
so where
Humble
I grew up is
backgrounds.
was like kind of like ghetto place. So
Yeah.
and my dad used to really tell me you need to really like study hard or fight hard in whatever you're doing, otherwise you
Yes.
might end up like on the street. So
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, yeah, I say it. So
It's
it's
not the
me too,
future you want for yourself.
yeah. So this is not something that I want to be here.
Yeah.
So it's me to choose, and my dad is just help me. Like he's there to just guide me out, but he can't decide for me. And yeah, he used to be really so tough to me.
Mhm, mhm.
So when I was
Like
growing
most of
up,
the African parents are.
yeah, because even during my football career, so
Yeah.
there's some days I really like I used to skip
Mhm,
cycling
mhm, mhm. To play
training
football.
to play football, but I was
Okay.
like, okay, I'm just doing it for because I'm on a scholarship and I don't want to lose my scholarship
A
as well.
football scholarship?
Yeah,
Okay, so you had the obligations you need
yeah.
to.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, I need to play this and I need to be this side as well. So, but when I got a chance of like a support from a friend of mine with a cycling,
Mhm,
cycling
mhm.
group, it's like okay, now I need to leave football for good.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
was that hard? Because I can imagine football seems, at that point, it seems if you got a scholarship out of it, you must have really liked it and you must have been pretty good
yeah.
at it.
It
Was
was
it
really
hard?
nice and addictive at the moment.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah, I
was
can
really
imagine.
addictive. Trying to shine. Being a star at the
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
And
it used to be
cycling.
really so fun, but it's like, okay, now I
Yeah.
need to really focus on the cycling because there's some positive, and negative things I've received in the football, like field. So it's not gonna work out for me. Yeah, I need to just focus on the cycling. It looks like to be a big chance of making a living,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
only like through the professional cycling. Oh, but there are lots of ways you can make a living. It has like lots of branches you can make a good living
Yes. Yes.
than
Yes.
football. So, and yeah, that's how things started really changing. But
Yeah.
yeah, my dad is really like, yes, he used to pressure me a
Oh,
lot
he's
most
used
of
to
the
pressure
time.
you a lot. Yeah.
I have like
So he made sure
some
you don't stumble.
yeah, I have some moments like home I used to do like silly things when we're doing mechanics. And then if I don't really focus, it's like, either whatever he has there, he has
Yeah.
to just throw
He'll
it to
use it
you just like
against you. Knock you
ah.
back into.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
funny story, but yeah, at the end I'm proud of it. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like he wanted me to be in a good spot. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, it really paid off.
Yeah, it seems like you've always
Yeah.
been a very cheeky person. I've also seen there's this one interview of David Kinja and Moses Amira I watched a few years, and he mentioned how you were cheeky. Sometimes people complain. For him, he didn't have any problem with that because he knew how hard you worked. But some people complained, oh, Jordan has eaten an extra portion of meat today, or he's done this and this. You seem to be, yeah, how do you deal with such conflicts, such issues? How do you
Yeah,
resolve?
like sometimes you need to understand where you are, and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, like what people do I live with, are they having the same goals with me, or they are
Yes,
just
yeah.
just on the bike to do other things.
Mhm.
And personally, if I'm like your goals, you need to understand I'm not really just training. I need to do a lot of set things so that to make the cycling works out, or any training to work out.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes things have to be like, we have to argue about some kind of food. This is not really good because you cannot only have like one food,
Yeah.
because you have trained really so hard. There is no any way you're gonna have like a food that is now building up the body.
Yeah, yeah. You just
So
won't have
yeah,
ugali only.
I'm that kind of a
Ugali
person. I'm
and
like, if I
skuma.
need this, I'll go for it. So because I know
Yeah,
it's gonna pay back. So I'm like, okay, if I want this, I'm gonna go for it, and I have
yeah.
a reason. So I don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
it's not it's not out of ill intent. I
Yeah.
know, I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Huh. And do they what's usually their response out of it? Do they make a big situation out of it, or do they understand where you're coming from at that point?
I mean, I don't know. Like some people think like so some people may think Jordan, they have that Swahili word they usually use,
Uh-huh.
Maringo. I don't know what kind of that. I'm like, bro, okay, you may think I have
This
that,
and
but
this, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been a long journey, so this is gonna help me out. If you think it's Maringo, so
Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
just take it the way you want, but it's not the other way around.
Yeah, because yeah, on as we were as we were driving the car, you really educated me about the day, the type of day you'll have. You're going to really eat according to the type of the intensity, the hours, and the number of hours you've done.
Yeah,
You really pay attention to the details,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you've talked about the trials and error you've done, and what you've noticed helps you
yeah, yeah,
ride better each and every day.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of like cycling is not all about like just sitting on the bike
hmm,
and just yeah. If you're just riding it for fun, it's pretty okay. But if you're just having a career that you're looking for to become a professional athlete,
yeah,
so you need to really like put a lot of details. You need to focus on the details so that things really starts developing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in terms of training, like bike, tires you're using, tire
mm-hmm.
pressure, the food you're taking into the body.
Yeah.
Some people just train really good and they just take in everything, but the stomach feels okay, feels happy, but the body hasn't really gained up
Received
anything,
anything.
it
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
gonna work out.
Mm.
So yeah, so paying attention to the details makes a big difference into the cycling community,
Hmm.
and that's the best way to make a good development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are lessons you've been taught, let's say, now being in Team Amani, we see the amount of Amani does a lot of things to help educate you guys, take you guys to the next level, understand your body, understand what needs to be done. Did this knowledge come from such meetings, or were you actively like doing your own research, actively looking for what works for you?
Yeah, like personally, I do a lot of research.
Yeah.
I do a lot of research. I love learning. I love reading, and yeah, from my experience since childhood, so I knew most of the things. But at least as well, the team of money helped me at least to open up more, so that I get to understand more things,
Yeah,
which is like making up the base, becoming more bigger to the knowledge,
yeah,
so that I can be able to explain it to other and understand it the way I know,
that's yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, through reading, doing research, personal research, and challenging yourself at the moment,
You
and
get to know all these different, then try see what works for your body best.
yeah, you don't feel like you don't make yourself more comfort, challenge yourself, and
Oh, that's true.
dig
That's
deep.
true. Yeah, yeah. So I've had your teammates. Some of your teammates call you uncle.
Yeah. Solid.
Where does the name come from?
So
Yeah.
uncle, it's a respective word that means like to the normal, like it's a normal word.
Yeah.
It's a respective word, and I'm pretty happy for it.
Oh,
So
okay.
that
You
means they
like
see
when
my hard working, and so they respect
they
that.
respect that.
So yeah, it's just like a respective word.
Yeah. Huh, that's really it's interesting. Especially I guess even some of them you're younger than them,
Yeah,
but they still go ahead and call you uncle.
Yeah. They see how hard I am, like mentally. I
Yeah.
look maybe, I look young, but maybe mentally I'm
Yeah,
just way smart.
even from I guess conversating with you, it's you're not young.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
real.
it seems like you've had a lot of lessons you've been going through. Yeah.
For real.
I've seen you've from previous interviews again from David Kinja, hearing David Kinja, along the journey, you've had a lot of missed opportunities in cycling, failing to get the opportunity to race in races like the World Championships, the Junior World Championships. Yeah. So what holds you back from doing some of these races that you really want to do?
Yeah, like back in days, we had a lot of political issues, but things, at least at the moment, things are really getting to change. So the federation gets to understand. So there is no any reasons why we're closing up doors for these young athletes,
Yeah.
whereby at the end of the day, they are really getting, or they are fighting hard to give credits to the federation. So yeah, we had like lots of political issues, like my dad with the federation,
Oh,
and they
okay.
ended up like, punching into me as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I had a lot of chances. At the moment, maybe I would have been one of the like development good teams in Europe, but
Yes,
but due to visa and political issues, things didn't really work out. I ended up not getting like some documents, and yeah, which was okay for them. But
Yeah.
at this moment, I think they get to sit down and think like what we did was
Yeah,
not so
maybe a
really like
mistake. Yeah, we didn't do the right thing.
yeah. So, but I don't look back. So it was like something, you learn from
And
mistake, and you make the mistake to be a better,
and
better
a new
change.
door always opens.
Yeah.
Looking
So
at your position now with the team Amani, and
yeah. So yeah, so missed a lot of chances. Sometimes support as well. So you get an invitation, or you get a chance, but you have no support, from somebody who understands your journey. The family may not be really so, financially stable to do that, but yeah. But I think the moment people get to understand,
Yeah, there's more cyclists around there. There's more your picture is out there more, and
yeah, at
there's
the moment
people who
maybe
want to
than
really
before.
help.
So
Yeah.
there was some challenge, so political, financially,
Yeah.
and that's
And
how
for you,
things,
is it fully on the Ugandan Federation, or does the Kenyan Federation have anything to play with you going outside?
No, they don't have to any. It's more of like Ugandan
Oh,
Federation. So
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
And well, we first knew you as a road cyclist. Is it something you still enjoy doing, or has you feel like almost seems like a full time off roader? We see you performing both on the mountain bike and gravel bike.
Yeah, a lot of people always ask me that question. It's pretty so hard.
Yeah.
Like for me, I do race. I'm a cyclist. I'm a racer, so I do race all the bike.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's a bike, it's a two-wheel bike, I'll go for it.
Whatever the challenge
As
is,
long
bring
as you
it
have
on.
legs. So yeah, so I do road racing locally,
Yeah,
but professionally I do more gravel racing
gravel
and
racing.
mountain biking. So yeah.
And would you want to? Have you ever thought of doing the road racing as well, internationally? Or yeah,
It's very like there are lots of barriers, but some races like representing the nation. So that's when I just only do the international races.
international.
So
But
yeah, but it's kind of like tricky since we have like lots of challenging barriers. So in terms of like a stepping stone to the next step with a road cycling field.
yeah,
So yeah, we still have a long way on that, and we hope in future it will get better. So we have like some barriers, and
yeah.
which is like to the gravel racing and the mountain bike, it's pretty less.
Oh, okay, so it's easier
Yeah,
to
it's
do
more.
the
Yeah, it's way.
mountain
Yeah,
and
yeah,
gravel
yeah,
riding.
yeah.
Okay.
Than the road at the moment.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah.
wanna go to the next step of,
Of
yeah,
cycling.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Oh, that's true. And you don't still ride under Safari Simbas now?
yeah, like we go, like we have that, partnership,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but officially racing for Team
Fatima
Amani
Mani.
and living with the Simbas. So I respect that, one of my old good friends. And yeah, I do what's necessary to make the
Yeah.
Safari Simba good
Yeah,
place
yeah.
so that people get to understand. And there are lots of chances, but you need to be really eager for them, to fight
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
And that's how people get to see you and give you that chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really great to see you're still always riding with these guys, pushing them, trying
Yeah.
to to push them to be better than they were yesterday, to have a better results than last time always.
True, true.
Yeah, yeah. You're now with Team Amani. How did that come about? It's big. We're seeing you racing all over the world with the Rafa Amani kits. Even what you're sporting on is like it's really everybody wants to have that kit on.
Yeah.
How did the Team Amani chance come by?
So after the migration gravel race in 2021, so I and Kenneth Carayas, we were the mountain bike guys who are like really on top performers. So we used to really finish up in top positions.
Yeah.
And in that season, in that edition, Ken finished third. So which was pretty solid results on a mountain bike, competing with one of the best gravel athletes like Ian Boswell, Lawrence Tendam, Thomas Decker. So one of the best by that moment. Um, yeah, and then during like late October, maybe
Yeah, yeah.
November, late October, I guess September there, and then that's how we got some messages, some emails. So there might be a chance for you guys to go and do some races in Europe, just to see if you have the potential,
Yeah.
and see what's the next step forward. Yeah, so there's some funny stories. We started moving here and there, but before I used to tell Ken, we have a long way to go, but if this is our journey to start making a living into cycling,
Yeah.
a sport we love, so it may be this. And
Yeah.
if we get the chance, we need to
We
really
need to
fight so
take
hard.
it.
Yeah, we did some paperwork with some help of the team. So by the time we submitted, like the two Kenyan guys, Kenneth and Evans, got their passports back.
Yes,
Actually, I was
yes.
the last person to
To
get my
get your so
passport,
you're a
who
bit
was more
panicking.
motivated and more like focused to get the
Yeah,
performance.
yeah.
But yeah, I got a call like we were traveling tonight, like that very night. And
How when you receive that call, what's the feeling you get from
I
that
was like,
moment?
you know, this is something serious,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna take it as for granted.
Yes, yes.
Um, it's a step, it's a step forward, and I'm not holding back. I'm just going forward. I'm not getting back
Yeah.
unless shit happens. But yeah, I'm just going
Yeah.
forward.
Or you keep
So
your
yeah, I got the passport. I got the call, and I was so super happy. And then I remember that day, everybody was like, "Really? Are we just heading to Europe?" Like, yeah, man, we're leaving. We're going.
yeah,
And
yeah,
once we step, into Europe,
yeah. I'm
yeah,
sure
any race we go into, I know we may not really win, but if you're really talented and somebody to see the potential of who you are, it doesn't really need to
matter.
see much, winning races. They're
Yes.
just small details he has to see, and then he just notes that you have a
You
talent.
have the
You
talent,
just
yeah.
need, you just need a little bit of tune
Fine
up,
tuning,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and that's how like we got the passports that very night,
Yeah.
and funny enough, like we're in the VIP. No, it's so simple. I was like, everybody was like, for real?
For real, yeah. Who are these guys in the VIP?
Yeah, we went into the plane, and we sat in the VIP
Oh, must have
slots.
been very comfortable. Yeah, must
I was like,
because it's a moment
whoa.
you finally received your passports. You finally know this chance is there. Even all you just want to see is a surety that I'm on the plane and we've taken off. But now
Yeah.
you're on the plane. I've taking off on the best seats on the plane.
Yeah, like the seats were really huge, like a bed, you can chill,
You
you
can
can do
chill. Yeah, yeah. It's not an everyday
yeah, you
experience.
can just
That's
call for just call for the food and just serve you. But yeah, it was fun. We landed in the Netherlands, so that was the first sport and the first country which we landed in, and I did some couple of races like criteriums. So
these
we're
were road races.
yeah,
Oh,
road
okay.
races. So we really performed very well, like solid results.
Yeah, yeah.
Our first races in Europe. Positioning in a lot of like 100 athletes.
Yeah, and I've seen the type of crit racing in Europe. It's just not a casual day in the park. We here in Kenya we sort of have nothing like that going on. So how is it going there today? And I'd like to say we're pretty small. Also yourself, you're pretty small. So in a crit race, you can be bullied. You can be, yeah, it's quite tough. It's not the easiest, and you need a lot of power. It's a lot of start stop.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was that? Your first races there, was it difficult? Was it like a culture shock?
Yeah, it was kind of challenging. We had no like serious, criterium, ideas,
Yeah, yeah,
and but I knew these races are kind of like okay, accelerations, a lot of corners,
yeah.
positioning is a big key.
Did you
Uh,
have a good bike at that time?
I had my Swift from the Safari Simba, so
Oh,
that's the
okay.
bike I went up with.
Yeah, yeah,
It was a good bike, and
yeah.
so I think I did the first race with it, but I don't know what happened with the bike. So they ended up giving me a broad bike
Oh, okay.
in a certain bike shop in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So the Roller Bike Shop. And then I got a small Pinarello bike. It was pretty nice, and we did a couple of races. And I was like, "Oh, solid! The bike is really moving." And yeah, I knew like the first training and the races, so I knew okay. So we're making adjustments and positions in the criteriums are gonna make a big change
Yeah,
because you're gonna end up doing less accelerations into the corners. So that means you're into the right spot and you saving everything.
yeah, yeah.
And I knew I was the smallest guy, but I'm really good. I'm fast on the
You're fast.
sprints.
Yeah,
I don't have like big legs, but I'm really fast.
yeah.
If I time you, you may not see the finish. So yeah, I think the first criterium races we really performed well and we won some. And yeah, a lot of people are really impressed, and we are like, okay, these guys are really solid. So
Yeah, yeah.
and we did like the hot road Dolomites. I did some couple of
That's
races.
really tough.
Yeah, and had bike issues and stuff. And on the last day, we were able to fix up my bike, and I won the stage on the one of the famous hills in the
Oh,
Europe,
wow, wow.
the Starview.
Oh, still, wow, that's a tough
So
climb.
and overall, I finished up number 3.
Oh, but even after having a bad day previously.
Yes. So I think that's when the Team Amani guys started noticing these guys are really
These guys are
talented,
really
but
good. Yeah.
they have like get fine tuned in a lot of things. And yeah, we got back home after some couple of races, and we got back home and 2022, 2021, I guess 2022, hopefully. And then that's where like we got like a big call from the team boss.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how we got offered contracts, and that's how the journey really started. And now the team is really developing, so guys are getting employed, guys are learning, getting experience in, and the sponsors are happy. So now it's we are us as athletes, so we're really fighting hard as well to produce more good results that really impress the sponsors,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
to as well show the young athletes out there that think everything is possible, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's really encouraging because before if you don't see somebody there, you think that if there's nobody there, I might not ever get a chance to be there.
Yeah, more especially if you see like the races on the TV, you're like,
Yeah.
this guy is he real? You know, the way we say movies. But
Exactly,
if you're
exactly.
there, you
From
know,
the bikes to the kids to the shows, just everything seems like it's impossible. It almost seems like I'll never get this.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But locally, if they see us like somebody whom you know, a
yeah,
person who eats Uganda like you,
yeah.
back home,
Exactly,
the one who
exactly.
rides on the bypass every day,
Yeah.
like okay, so that means it's possible, you know. So
Yes,
you get to
yes.
believe it more
Mhm.
than just seeing it on the TV.
So do you find that a lot of people constantly ask you, "Oh, Jordan, can we go for a ride together? Jordan, can we do this and this together on bike?"
Yeah, a lot of people always ask me, like, I find
Yeah.
a lot of DMs, you know. You know, people
And
ask you for questions, you're like, okay, you
uh,
reply to this and this, this is how you need to change this to this, you know, to develop.
yeah.
Some people just like sends message, can we go out for a ride, you know, because if I'm there physical, at least I can notice a lot of things and help you out. Yeah, some days if I'm having like my long rides, I'm like, you know, guys, you know,
I
I
can
would
imagine.
love, but maybe on my easiest ride, so then
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
swing by,
yeah.
and
Because yeah,
that's how we
even
can
me,
discuss.
if I decide to ever call you out for a ride, I'm not going to take it easy. I'll sort of want to push as it's going to be a race for me
Yeah.
just to sort of to prove something to you.
Yeah.
To make this guy think, oh, he's actually a pretty good cyclist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So with Team Amani, you participated in after missing shots in the Road World Championships. You now got the chance to do a Gravel World Championships.
Yeah.
That must have been very exciting, eh? Yeah. So you went out there. Did you get the result or the goal you went looking for?
So like personally, the experience was really the key. You know, competing with one of the best, you know,
Yeah.
cyclists in the world, and I never expected like to be in such sport. You know, being at the same race with Matthew Van der Poel, Peter
Yeah. Yeah.
Sagan. So yeah, the results they didn't really go up as I wanted, but I knew this is a really strong field,
Yeah.
and I'm just really developing up with my cycling career than these guys who have like 10 years of experience, professional
Yes.
cycling,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like cycling,
And
you
before
know.
that, professional, they had 10 years of
Yeah, I'm
of
like,
amateur riding.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So as long as I can stay with them for quite long, I have something, you know, I have
Yes.
something
Yes.
into the career, and I was really so happy to stay for the same bunch with Matthew Van der Poel, Peter Sagan,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like 130K.
Oh wow.
I
Wow.
was like, okay, so that means my training is somehow somewhere
Yeah.
else, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it really motivated me so bad, and
Oh, wow,
so that
that's really it's really impressive to hear because sometimes you might imagine, oh, this guy is from Kenya, he's always winning the races there. How will he feel if he goes out there and meeting all these tough people? Will he still be motivated to carry on, or will he notice, oh, this I can't do this and just abandon the race?
no,
Yeah.
you know, quitting is not an option
Oh wow.
unless
Yeah.
things really go so bad. But yeah, I always fight, stay there, get the experience is the most important,
Yeah.
because you don't expect to win
Yeah.
something into, you know, into another country without being there for quite long.
Yes.
You might be
Yes.
even really so strong,
Uh-huh.
but remember there are lots of challenges that brings up, you know, the less chances of performing, you know. Yeah, so I knew it's gonna be really so tough, but let's go there, get into the experience, feel the fire into the legs, and yeah, so that's how we start, you know,
Yeah.
to become more good.
And so you've done a lot. You've done the European leg and the American
Yeah.
series. So where do you prefer the gravel racing? In
Uh,
the US, it seems long and tough. In the Europe, it's maybe shorter and fast. Yeah. So which do you like it there or here better? Rather,
yeah,
which country?
I'm always have a person who is like, I love challenges, so yeah, states it's really cool, you know, it's pretty nice,
Yeah.
long, tough. So that's when you become a better athletes, you know, a better gravel athletes as well.
Yes. Yes.
So you need to be there, feel the fire, stay there as much as possible. And it just, you know, day by day. So for me, I prefer states, you know.
You prefer the
It's
states? Yeah.
tough,
Yeah.
and that's the best field to be in, because most of the gravel pro athletes, you
Want to
know,
be there? Are
wants
there?
to be there,
Yeah.
and you know, anyone who comes from Europe or whatever. But the highest competition is in the States,
Yeah.
and if you're there several years, so that means you're really changing, you're really building up something, and that's the only way you're gonna really be so good. Yeah, so I personally I prefer staying in the fire to be
Yeah.
to be solid as well.
And yeah, how different is it from racing in Kenya? It must, yeah, it's very
The races are pretty long,
uh,
pretty long, tough.
the field is
The field is really
intense. It's yeah, yeah,
competitive.
yeah.
It's not like here you might be into a race whereby you got like maybe 20 athletes that are really top performance, and whereby in the States you might find like
100,
50
200.
plus
Yeah,
50 plus they are really solid.
yeah, yeah,
And so after like maybe the half of the race, so that's when you're starting you know looking for the spot to be in
yeah,
into the race.
yeah.
You're like, hey, no, this is where I'm supposed to be, but now I need to go in front.
So,
So
are you good at pacing yourself?
yeah,
At knowing where you need to be at this point, so that yeah, you don't have the possibility of exploding in a race.
yeah, but most of the races I always hang as much as possible so that I don't overburn. Try and stay with the first group.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like helping you to roll smooth. It's kind of challenging, but rolling very smooth. So I try as much as possible. But if I get dropped, so I need now to start pacing myself so that
Yeah.
at the end I make a good timing. And yeah,
So, do you ever drop back purposefully so that you can maintain
no,
your?
not so really. Like
Oh, okay.
everybody loves to stay in the
Everybody-
first group
For
as
as
much as
long as they
possible, but
can,
just
yeah.
things don't really happen. The legs get tired.
Yeah, yeah.
Punctures, mechanical. So,
Uh-uh.
but everybody would really love, or everybody
To be there
loves
at
to
the
be in the
front
first.
until they win. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you race there, you race outside a lot, and you'll be there miss for some time, months or weeks, at months or weeks period.
Yeah.
So do you find when you come back here, there's a big difference from when you left? Do you find that these Kenyans are still the same, or do they also change as much as you do?
Yeah, some races you might go into a race whereby you feel like, okay, these guys are really like, the race is really competitive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the guys are really solid. You could see they're really active, attacking, doing this, doing this. Some races you feel like it's kind of boring. There is nothing. But remember, you into the fire, your legs are so solid than the others. So sometimes you
Yeah.
might feel the race is kind of boring. So it's you to understand either your performance is slightly higher than the other guys.
Yeah. Do you ever hold back just to have somebody riding by your side?
Yeah. To see if these guys are really developing or they're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they're just playing around.
Oh, then it must be very easy for you racing here in Kenya. Or rather, you enter a race with that confidence every time you're going into a race.
Yeah, confidence is always the key for me. Even
Yeah.
if I know I'm not like in a good shape, but I know if I do something can really make a big difference. So I know this move can make a big chance, even if these guys are strong at the moment. But yeah, confidence is always the key, and I'm that kind of a person who comes into the race with want to race aggressive.
Yeah,
I know I want to do this race, and I'm here to show what I have in the legs. So yeah, if shit happens, that I understand.
yeah.
So I have to just accept it and move ahead. So, but if I'm good, I'm gonna hammer everything.
Yeah. And gravel road or MTB, which are you better? Where do you feel you have the most strength? Your strengths lie.
Both, off road is off road, and we say mountain biking is the spirit of gravel.
Gravel, yeah. And road, or do you perform in gravel? Oh, it seems like you
All the races
yeah,
I'm so
exactly.
sorry.
It's not necessarily the question to ask you, huh? Speaking about off-roading, you seem to really enjoy. Talk to me about Cape Epic first of all. I think we should begin there. What a race that is! You've done it a number of times. You've ridden it with the likes of Sule, Kenneth Karaya, Nancy Akdebe. Who else? Salim Kemboy.
Yeah.
And more recently, Lachlan Morton. How do you find that as an MTB stage race? Is it tougher than everything else you do?
It's pretty one of the toughest races as well.
The untamed wild race they call it.
Yeah. it's the mountain, like it's the Tour de France of mountain bike,
Yeah.
and you get to meet a lot of super strong athletes, off-road, off-road pro athletes. So kind of challenging, stressful at sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty fun at the end. You gain the experience, but once you just line up with the pros, your heart starts
But I
beating so
guess,
fast. You're like,
yeah, yeah. On the TV, we'll normally just see Nino Shatter doing bunny
yeah,
hops, jumps, and you're like, oh, maybe this guy's having an easy time out
it's
there.
always fun, to watch on TV, but into the action, it's
It's something
pretty.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it was one of the longest of races. You get to every day. It's a long day. You expect to do like 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours of racing, and then if you like when the day doesn't really go your way and you end up having mechanical issues or something,
You're out
and
there
then
longer
everything is
than,
so
yeah,
frustrating. You feel like giving up, but you're like, no, it's another end. Everybody suffers like me,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not the only one who is having the bad day. So you have to just deal up with it in a positive
In a
way so that
positive
you can
ways.
finish up the
Yeah.
race. Yeah, but you wake up some days in the morning, the body hasn't really recovered as much as possible. You feel the legs are still
Heavy. They're
hurting,
still.
heavy, and you're gonna have another 6 hours of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fighting, But yeah, it's one of the good races that can really make you mentally hardcore, physical as well,
I can imagine. I can
figuring out where you
imagine.
have to be.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and it was a
And
good preparation for my like for the lifetime Grand Prix races
oh,
as
okay,
well.
yeah, you
So
had a
yeah,
good, yeah, it was a good training camp,
yeah,
but a very tough one at the same time.
yeah.
And so, what's the recipe? What's the recipe for the best teammate? I can imagine riding with a teammate for 4 or 5 days, tough days. It can be really hard. Just maintaining your cool. You don't want this person to slow you down, or this person. You just want the perfect teammate. So, what's the recipe for having a good teammate? What do you like out of a teammate?
Yeah, the recipes for me could be like yeah, a very understanding person,
Yeah, yeah,
because not all the levels of fitness are the same, and not all of us we're the same, in terms of our skills.
yeah.
So somebody can be really so good in technical places, but he's not so really good in the climb. So a very understanding person, and under, understanding that if it's a good day, it's a good day. We're gonna make it. But if it's not a good day, we just need to ride, make
Yeah,
it to the
yeah,
finishing
yeah.
line, and then we add it just for the following day so that we make a big change for the results. So understanding passion, hardworking, determined, and supportive,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
such races. Yeah.
So would you rather have, let's say, Lachlan Morton as a teammate or you yourself as your own teammate?
Yeah, he's a good guy, but most of the times you have to like find somebody who has like a higher experience than you, so at least to
Okay.
have a better results or to have a better, a better go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
we
makes
see,
way. Yeah, than
yeah,
having like two Jordans in the same place. We're like, now we're competing with these guys, so even it's gonna be pretty so tricky for us to,
yeah, yeah.
to fight for the
Oh,
positions.
that's
But
true. That's true.
yeah,
If you're both good at the exact same thing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's nice to see how much also Lachlan Morton does to support or to help grow our cycling here in Kenya. Yeah, deciding to ride with you guys as the teammates, always coming for the races here, the migration races.
yeah.
Yeah, it's is he a close friend to you?
Yeah, he's a good friend. We do talk a lot. We joke a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. More, he's always more positive.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
and a very understanding person. So, yeah, he does. Yeah,
Yeah, and the migration gravel race.
yeah.
The that's I think our biggest race we have in Kenya. How do you enjoy it? Do you like the race? You didn't participate this year, did you?
No, I did, but I did only stage one,
Oh,
and
okay.
then that's how things like I had to, to abandon the race because of the nail that I stepped on after
Oh
the
wow.
stage one,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was
Oh
like,
yeah.
the foot can't really make it for the following day. I need
Yeah.
to just abandon the race for.
Is that usually difficult? Because you've spent a good number of months preparing for a race, and just that, I guess, having the wrong step while going out for dinner might be the reason why you won't continue the race. Is it at that point? Do you find yourself going for the race and battling it out, or will you just have that? Will you be okay to say, okay, this and this has happened, and I'll just step off?
Yeah, it looks at this, the conditions.
Yeah.
If it's not really so bad, and I can feel I can ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that kind of a person. I will jump on the bike and enjoy my bike, race hard as much as possible. But it wasn't really possible for me. I tried my best.
Yeah.
But I was really feeling so pain. Actually, it's one of, as well, into my second career that I came to experience that is really so hurtful and it's stressful.
Oh wow.
Because my foot was really like,
and that's
hurting me
all
so
the
bad
power
whole
goes
night.
through that.
And then when I tried to wear this, like the shoe in the morning, I couldn't
It's
even
really
clip in.
tight. Yeah.
And I was like, no, if I'm just struggling here, so what of into the race? So that's not gonna make sense. So it's going to be really so bad for me. So I have to just understand and just abandon the race. I've put in 2 more good work, but things are not gonna work out. So let's just wait for the next one.
And are you fully healed now?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. Yeah.
So it seems, do you find most of the challenges you get will be, I don't hear you dropping out of races a lot because of sickness, because of this and this. Most of the problems you encounter seem to be mechanical issues. Yeah. So while doing my research, I remember seeing you've completed the Everesting challenge.
Yeah.
Which by any standard, it's very tough. First of all, my respect for that. It seems like the crazier the challenge for you, that's where you shine. You find it, you're well suited for that. So, where did you get the idea of doing an Everest challenge?
So I remember back, so we sat at the camp when Sule did one. We were like, okay, we can do something that is close to that, and we have to we need to challenge. We here, we cycling, we have to just find something that we challenge ourselves on, so that we get in the experience and as well, and to create up more, good stories, interacting stories, so interesting stories to people. So we are like, okay, the team came up with the idea, let's do this, and we started arranging stuff.
Did you prepare for it, or you guys just you decided to go
No,
for it?
We had to prepare for it. Like,
okay.
Personally, I was more eager, because I was the main guy in the challenge. So I had to go like several times to the little checkup, feel the challenges.
And what's the hill that you did the Everesting in?
I did the Kijabe.
Okay. How long is that?
Maybe like 6K.
6Ks. Wow.
6K, where it has like some steep sections whereby it's hurting so bad. I remember like few weeks, or like I did some couple of rides there, and as well a few days when it was like pretty cold. Had to go there, do like half of Everesting as well.
Oh wow!
To just feel, after like riding from Kikoyu, Kijabe,
wow,
do the Everesting half of it, and then you ride back.
It's not. Yeah, that's not. Wow.
And it was like kind of cold, rainy. Okay, if I need to, to figure out a lot, if I can feel like this, so it's gonna be close to the same when I'm doing the challenge. So the day came out and we arranged everything. We drove from Safari Symbols and we went down to Kijabe. And I remember around like 7 a.m. That's when we started up the challenge.
And what time did you finish it?
Around like 9
p.m. Wow. So did you have any you of course you had breaks along the way.
No, I did. Like, I knew, like, when I was even doing the checkup, I did the half of it. It's like, no, if I stop, I may not really get back onto the bike.
Oh wow,
it's gonna be really so hurting.
So you were on the bike from 7 to 9. That's insane.
So it was super cold. We started riding up and down, up and down, up and down. Remember what calculates is that the elevation of climbing.
So how many times did you climb that 6 km stretch?
around 20 something, 23, I guess.
Wow, that's really insane.
So that's climbing and up. That's
Up
what.
and down, up and
That's
down. And you had to do it 28 times.
wow. So, but
Wow. So, would you rather Everest a 5 km hill 18 times or do a 10 km hill 9 times? Do you like the longer ones, or that you're going to do a less amount of times, or you like the shorter and many repetitions?
yeah, the short round would be really so good
Oh,
because you
okay.
end up like having less kilometers, but it's gonna be a bit steepy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but remember, what really, you know, matters is the elevation of climbing, not the kilometers. So, yeah, I prefer the short, but yeah,
Seems like you really find your own in the hills.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever do it again?
yeah. Sure, I will, but I need to find like a good spot,
Yeah, yeah.
good place. Kijaba was good,
Uh-huh.
but there are some challenges once you're coming down, a lot of bumps,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's pretty like no lights or whatever. But at least we had like bike lights. But
And
yeah,
did you have the team support? Was there
yeah,
any car or anything?
yeah. We had
Anybody?
the car, like the
Uh,
team car,
Food? How did you handle
and as
eating?
well we had like other athletes. I did to the moment the guys like started dividing themselves.
Oh,
Some
okay.
guys like they support me from down to the half of it, and then other guys they just fight
Oh,
them
they
like up
take
of it.
because yeah,
Like,
so they couldn't even complete the hill once, and you're going to do it something times.
it was kind of like hilarious, but yeah, it was a good experience. But
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, it was a super challenging day. 13 hours onto the bike, no stopping.
Wow.
Because when I was doing the half, when I was into the half of the elevation, I was like, no, it's pretty cold. It's kind of drizzling, but if I stop, I may not get onto the bike. So I need
Yeah,
to just
yeah.
keep it flowing, easy, and then finish up the challenge. But that day, it was so horrible. I remember that day I just slept even into the jazzes.
Oh, really? Wow, it's that tough. It's that
I
tough.
was I was so
Respect for
tired.
that. Yeah.
I was so tired. I couldn't eat anything. I could
Uh-huh,
feel
uh-huh.
I don't want anything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel my stomach is just complicated. And then
And were you the only one who completed it that day?
yeah.
Props to that. Props to
Thank you, thank you.
that.
I had to just remove up my helmet, shoes.
And crash. Then the nearest bed
Yeah,
to you, you're
I
going to
just
stop
left. I
there.
found myself in the morning with the jacket same clothes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I was like, this was so
Yeah, I bet even the
crazy.
next day walking wasn't it
Yeah.
wasn't like normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, we can say at least this year you've cycled definitely more than you've walked.
Yeah.
Do you find that this level of fitness, makes your day to day life activities easy, or are you still like the cyclist where you hear the stairs? The stairs is just the most difficult part out of their day.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I'm not
It's
that kind
every
of a
cyclist
person who is like,
kryptonite.
I don't want I don't want to climb a lot of stairs. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
stressful.
yeah.
And most especially if you're heading out for a ride or if you after training, it's kind of stressful and like you find yourself hiding so bad.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, before this podcast episode, by the way, to our listeners, it's 9:50 p.m. So it's a very late podcast. Yeah, you've been dealing with your visa requirements.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you looking? What's your next race? Where are you looking to go next?
Um, I'm doing the we call it the red gravel race.
And where is this?
It's in Boulder.
Oh, okay.
It's in the US.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, and the next race it's gonna be Big Sugar. So
Oh,
the last
okay.
one of the season.
That's an
No,
MTB,
it's a
or it's
gravel
also
race
a
as
gravel
well.
race? Oh,
So
okay, yeah, yeah.
I had to skip the Schram again
Oh, okay.
since of its costs.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, if I get my Swedish visa, so I may do the gravel world
Gravel
championships
World
and
Championships.
some.
Is that a big goal of yours, by the way, right now?
Yeah, it's kind of like a
Or it's mostly
70%
the
goal, but
Grand Prix,
this year I
lifetime
haven't
Grand
really
Prix?
focused to it. But it's kind of a good thing to do this year as well.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's hilly than flats. And the first one it was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
flat.
Oh, the flat. So
Yeah.
it suits the
Yeah.
the bigger people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and do the Nordic gravel as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and do some things with the sponsors as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Will you be around Kenya for the Jubilee race?
No, I won't be around.
Oh, sadly, we'll miss you.
It's really, sad,
Gives the
but
rest of us a chance. So yeah.
yeah, so that people can find we call them find the X. Very quick. The
Very
slots
quick.
are already,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, exactly. When all of you guys are here, you definitely know if there's any prize money, I'm definitely not getting anything. We're going to fight for every position after that.
Hilarious.
So yeah, all the best in that.
Yeah.
We'll be watching you and cheering you from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Over what you do in the next couple of months.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Jordan Schleck joining us today at Riding the Rift podcast. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being here. Yeah, it's a very late Monday night. I won't keep you held here for longer. Yeah, I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I appreciate for having me here. It means a lot to share the experience, share some interesting stories
Yeah.
with a lot of people who don't really get that time to know us. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll pester you again in the near future for another podcast recording.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Good.